He, in fact, was not an MD and did not have his PhD. That's crazy. He was a convicted felon. You found that out. And served time for defrauding an elderly woman when he was in his 20s.
Yes.
You found out that you were his fourth wife, not his second.
Right.
Are you okay?
Imagine you were happily married to the man of your dreams, but dreams that quickly turned to nightmares though. Cause listen to this. What Shareza Jackson thought was a loving marriage eventually turned out to be an over $1 million scam that ended in debt, doubt, and a trip to jail. Shareza stepping in to tell us all about the red flags she missed and her truth about how she got duped and how she's rebuilding her life after losing it all to a man, child.
Shareza joins us today and is stepping into the shade room to tell us her story. Hey, Shareza.
Hey, girl. How are you?
I am doing amazing. Thank you for stepping into the shade room to tell us this story.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, like, where do we even start? There's so much to cover.
It's a lot.
Okay, so you and Doc, we'll refer to him as Doc. That's his name in the book. Roommates, make sure y'all check it out. You and Doc met in high school, and you reconnected years later.
Right.
So when you reconnected, do you think there was some kind of underlying trust there that you had because you'd met him in high school?
Right. When you meet someone in high school, I mean, you kind of know them, but you don't know them because we're still growing into ourselves, right? We don't even know ourselves fully. But when I met him, I was a freshman and he was a senior. So it wasn't like we spent years together. You know, he was getting ready to graduate and leave, and I was still in school.
So what was he like then? Do you recall?
Well, I remember him being a great athlete. You know, he was a great athlete. I didn't really know too much about him, but he was, you know, he was always attractive.
Yeah. So to give the roommates some background, you guys went on a date, a first date. It was cool. It was fun.
It was a vibe.
It was a vibe.
It was a whole vibe.
Yeah. And then he invited you. You went back to your house and, you know, he wanted to come up and you were like, we ain't doing that.
Right.
So when you guys reconnected, it was on the basis of his brother passing away.
Right.
And, you know, you went to the repast and then he asked you to make some food for the repast.
Right.
So while you were there, when you were leaving, you saw him get into a car with another woman.
Yeah.
And you thought he was his sister.
He said it was his sister. Hey, I wanted you to meet my sister. I'm like, okay, but you know, I'm leaving. I'll meet her another time. And then later we find out that wasn't the sister.
It wasn't the sister. So then you feel as though like he proposed pretty quickly. And then he moved to from Atlanta to join you in Florida.
Right.
So at the time, you know, what were the discussions about him leaving Atlanta to join you in Florida? This, you know, seems like a successful businessman, has all these businesses, his jobs, his kids. Like, what was the conversation around being so quick to up and move and leave Atlanta to come in, move in with you in Florida?
You feel like the missing piece of the puzzle, because I was a single mom, it was me and my girls forever, right? You feel like the missing piece is, you know, the person that you can spend the rest of your life with. So definitely believe I was targeted. But the conversation in Florida, him moving to Florida, his mom had passed away, you know, he was just over it. His brother had passed away. So he basically said he wanted to just kind of, you know, start over fresh.
And so when he was moving to join you in Florida, he supposedly totaled his Bentley.
Yes.
Right. And then
So we about to get real into it. Okay.
Right. He totaled his Bentley and then he left his Range Rover for his wife and kids. So for you,
his
ex-wife and kids, excuse me. So, you know, for you, you're thinking, you know, you got your 2 luxury cars.
Yeah, you can have one, babe.
Right. You're thinking,
know,
my man.
Get one of these cars.
You can have one.
Yeah.
Well, was there a conversation surrounding like why he wouldn't or couldn't get his own car as such a successful man? Or seemingly?
You know, the conversation is I have 2 cars. One is just sitting there, right? You know, I decide which one I want to drive. So it didn't make sense financially, you know, to bring in another car into the household. So you might as well just use this car.
Yeah. And by the time you were engaged, you still hadn't met the kids.
Right.
You still hadn't met the kids. Was there a reason given to you for that?
Oh, well, the reason was that the mothers were bitter and they were upset that he moved to Florida and, you know, was getting married. So listen, the man was very good.
Yeah.
Very good at manipulating situations.
Now you know that in any situation where there are children involved, blending families just has to happen. But that wasn't easy for Shareza when she found out that her husband-to-be had children that she'd only found out about a few months before the wedding. So the question is, was that red flag not enough to step away and move on? Or was she too blinded by love to let that man go?
So yeah, he must have been a really good manipulator, because your daughters changed their names to match his last name, and they weren't toddlers.
No, they were adults.
Yeah.
Young adults, and they respected him. They respected him because he was very good, but he was an actor, a character.
It sounds like
we all fell in love with a character.
Yeah. Basically after you guys get engaged, at some point he tells you that he has a woman claiming that she has his children, a 6-year-old and a 4-month-old. So post engagement, you find out that he has 6 kids. Right. So, people watching this are thinking, okay, 3 months from the wedding, like, you had time to get out. You had time to get out. When you look back, you are thinking, your thought in the book says, we all make mistakes and everyone is entitled to a do-over. Why was this a mistake you feel like you were willing to overlook?
Well, because again, when you're in a situation and you're being manipulated, it's things that you go back and think about to say, what, I should have known then.
So what went through your mind when you found out that he in fact had 8 kids, that you found out through child support
that was
papers?
Throughout the marriage, right? Yeah. Throughout the marriage, I'm vested at this point, right? I'm vested. Now we're going to do the right thing, by these children. And, it's funny that you bring that up, because I was making sure that these kids were taken care of. I was the one that was making sure that the child support was paid, that the Christmas gifts were given every year, just making sure that, okay, I may not know all of them, I may not have met them, but as a man, you have to do the right thing. Yeah. Whether they allow you to see them or not, you have to do the right thing by your children. And, that comes into full circle, because now, a few of the mothers haven't gotten anything since the separation.
Oh, wow. Have you talked to any of the mothers at that point?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
And how, what is their take on everything? Were they conned too? Some of them?
I would say more so, heart, the heart, the manipulation, the lies, the things that, the person that he portrayed, a few of them thought he was someone that he wasn't.
Yeah.
But,
So as you were going through this, with the revelation of the kids and all these different things, did you tell anyone about this, or is this something you felt like, what, I'm going to keep it to myself? I'm not really going to talk to anyone about it, whether it's a friend or family? What were you talking to anyone about it at the time?
Yeah, I talked to my best friend. We've had conversations, and she's very, she's my bestie. She's gonna ride with me whatever decision I make, and she just wanted to make sure that I was good. As long as you're okay.
Did anyone in your circle, in your family, anyone flag anything or have any concerns of some sort? I know, obviously he's a master manipulator. He manipulated everyone around
my entire family.
Yeah, and was there no one who was just I don't know about
not
this
one person.
Really?
And I talk about this in the book, because I said, let's normalize just being honest. Break my heart from the beginning so it doesn't get broken at the end, right? And sometimes we may have to have those tough conversations with our friends and with our loved ones. Yeah. But at least you'll sleep good at night knowing that, I felt something, I said something. If you see something, say something. Right. But after, of course, things came out, oh, girl, I knew this, or I felt this. I'm like, no, we have to normalize just being honest, because I'm your loved one. You love me, right? So just next time, if you see anything, those red flags, and this is for anybody out there. Right. For anybody out there. Don't, because people would say, but you seem so happy. But obviously that happiness was temporary, right?
So they saw something or felt something, but just didn't say it.
Right.
I don't
right.
like that. Y'all need to tell
for
people.
real.
So at this point, Shareza had already walked down the aisle with a man she thought she knew, and then things started to take a turn towards the truth after his behaviors became a little suspicious to her. Ciao. When that man started asking for her savings and displaying personality traits that made him seem like a stranger, Shareza began her exit strategy. But like JoJo said, she may have been too little, too late.
So we fast forward. Life's great. Everything's good. You guys are married, living your best lives. And then at some point, he asks you for your savings to buy a business and promised that I won't let you down.
Well, remember, it was more so our business.
Okay.
I always had the passion for women, so it was a wellness spa that was going to be attached to it. So it was really a passion of mine because of the wellness, what women's wellness. So it just kind of made sense, right? And then with your credentials, with all that you have and who you were and, working for the CDC, being an internal medicine doctor, you got all the credentials to make this happen and to make sure that we're successful in this. So I didn't necessarily think, 3 times about it, maybe twice, but not 3 times.
Yeah.
And I know these things are cliche, but I literally had to step back. I took a break from social media. I started seeing the business wasn't doing well. I started just kind of seeing like a shift in attitudes and, the narcissistic traits I had seen throughout the marriage, but really started paying attention to them. And then I really had to go to God and ask for clarity. I wasn't ready. Now, I was not ready to get the clarity, so I did kind of take my time.
Right.
But finally I said, okay, God, just give me clarity. And I remember saying to him, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I'm feeling this way, but something is not right. And I said to him, I have to ask God for clarity. And see, when people know that you one of God's favorite people,
Right.
like this dude had a fit when I cursed me out.
When you said you wanted to ask God
when I said I wanted to ask God for clarity.
In the book, you talk about how you read a text from your husband to his friend that read, "She's broke and she's not going to use her credit anymore. I stayed longer than the 5 years I planned because the money was good. Now it's time I bounce. Nothing is keeping me here."
Yes.
What did you even do when you read that? Do you confront him? Do you move quietly to have a strategic exit?
So the thing is, I tried to play the game, and then it's like, okay, do I want to say anything? Should I say anything right now? Because things just started coming. I said, I just want to let some things come. I need to kind of play a role right now. I needed to play a role.
What role did you play?
As far as just sitting back and, saying, oh, I want my marriage. I love you. I don't, we can, maybe you can go back to Atlanta to work at, this prestigious hospital that you were working at. And we can just, start from scratch because the business was failing. The business was done, right? So when I started asking about going back to work at the CDC or the hospital that you were working for, it got even crazier. He became just very mean. So, I started finding out some things.
Yeah, when the things you found out, when things came to light, a couple things you uncovered was he, in fact, was not an MD and did not have his PhD.
In epidemiology.
Right. According to reports, he didn't even attend the universities he claimed to attend. That's crazy. He was a convicted felon, you found that out, and served time for defrauding an elderly woman when he was in his 20s.
Yes.
You found out that you were his 4th wife, not his 2nd.
Right.
And you found out that he allegedly left half a dozen women in debt. And as we discussed earlier, that the sister from earlier was not a sister, but in fact another alleged victim.
Right.
Are you okay?
Girl, I'm good. So here's the thing. I feel like that we wouldn't be sitting here now had I not been put on assignment, right? I am still in therapy. I meet with my therapist weekly. I'm still, praying, fasting, and I have a village. I have a strong village, a small circle, very small circle, but they're there, right? They show me that they care, and I couldn't ball up in fetal position. You see, my daughter's father was killed when I was 5 months pregnant. Oh, wow. I literally went through an era where I had $5 to my name, and I put it in the offering plate and gained $8,000 just by having faith. I persevere, but this one hit different.
So once this lady's marriage was in complete shambles and things had gone all the way left, she thought that she got out. But what she really got was locked up instead. So the question we all want to know is, why was she in trouble with the law if he was the one doing all this alleged scamming? Like what?
Because you just recently turned yourself in for something. What was that about?
So I found out that he was he had signed loans in my name. He was getting equipment in my name and using my credit and just doing a lot of things. And I went to the Miramar Police Department because I want to make sure that I went to them. There were several things that he had done to me as far as violating me physically. I went to them and I wanted to tell them, like, I need to do a report, like this has happened. This man is using my credit. He's doing this, I need to file a report. They told me, oh no, that has to be handled, that's civil. It has to be handled in the divorce proceedings.
Because there's women out there probably watching thinking, girl, come on, couldn't be me. But like you said, you got God, and you wrote in the book, I was the perfect single woman that seemingly could be manipulated and was tricked into taking out loans, credits, and putting businesses in my name, only to be left in over $1 million in debt. This was his MO. This is what he had done to several other women, adding red flags were overlooked. Women that attempted to warn me were ignored. Did you ever meet any of his colleagues or anything?
I met someone who said that they worked with him. But again, he came from Georgia to Florida.
Wow. Yeah. So are you scared to fall in love again?
Absolutely not.
I love that.
I'm absolutely not scared to fall in love again, because here's what, I have to say, that I did fall in love with the character, right? It was a character. It wasn't real, right? And I had to accept that. And I had to understand that this just wasn't a real person. And I'm okay with that. But I'm definitely not afraid to fall in love again. And I don't want anybody watching this to say, oh, no, that's it, I'm done with men. Because we have to give, continue to give that grace and to continue to understand that we deserve love. We deserve love. I am love. I am a loving person. I'm worthy of love, and I'm not afraid to give my heart to someone again just because I went through a bad experience.
What has the outpouring reaction been? Has it been support or has it been judgmental? A
little bit of both.
Okay.
But I would say more support than judgmental. Even as I'm rebuilding my life, right? I'm just saying, how can I bring awareness? It's not about this particular person, because there's no smear campaign. I'm not trying to male bash, because I love men, right?
Yeah.
And I want to be loved one day by a real man, right? So I'm not doing that, but I'm here because I'm on assignment to bring awareness to this situation.
Yeah, I think it's great to see that your outlook on love and men hasn't skewed. It's more so this was just an experience with this person, but it doesn't take over, the rest of the experiences to come.
Right.
So what's become of him? Like, where is he? Where are you guys in the divorce? Is it final? Like, what's...
Well, there's been a lot of back and forth where he's not complying.
Is he in jail?
Not yet.
He needs to. Where is he? He's just out here.
Then
free?
we tell the people, because I'm telling you, not yet.
Okay, so
Not
he's
yet.
just out here free.
He's just out here free. The last that we saw, that he was claiming to be a dental expert on LinkedIn.
Oh, so it changed.
Yeah, it changed. It's now a dental expert. And it's scary though, because that's why I say authorities really have to, they're getting got. They really have to educate themselves on these type of people, because right now, as we speak, he's probably victimizing the next person.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
what a story. Thank you so much for being open and vulnerable to come here and share this with us.
No problem.
Yeah, let the people know like what's next up for you, where they can find you, where they can buy the book, all the things, plug it all.
SharezaJ.com, that's my website. I'm Shareza J on every social media platform. Shareza J, Shareza Jackson, Google me. But the book can be purchased on Amazon or SharezaJ.com.
Thank you so much, Shareza, for stepping into the Shade Room and sharing your story with us and being so vulnerable to share it with the world and everything you went through. Roomies, make sure y'all check out Shareza's book and don't get got.
Don't get got. Please don't get got. But if you do, call me.
Right. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey roomies, we reached out to Shareza's husband who we're calling Doc, and he had this to say in his defense. In response to the allegations that have been stated against me from Shareza Jackson, I am providing a response from Shareza from July of 2016, which is before our marriage and very early on in the engagement. The response will eliminate most, if not all, of the slanderous and defamatory statements made by Shareza in her vindictive smear campaign on her quest to gain a sympathy article to be run on your platform. With that being said, I will refrain from addressing some issues as we are also in the midst of several litigations, including a pending divorce, and I have no desire to derail my cases to fulfill her delusional obsession for 5 minutes of fame with a fabricated version of her story. Additionally, I want to inform you that despite Shareza having a no contact order as a condition of her bond in a separate pending criminal case, she has clearly chosen to violate this order as she has continued to use direct, indirect, and third-party means, including but not limited to various social media platforms, in an attempt to intimidate me with many ongoing versions of this story. Again, I will not derail any of my cases to entertain these slanderous, defamatory, and intimidation tactics to feed Shareza's vendetta because a marriage failed. With regards to physical assault allegations, that is a very serious and slanderous road for someone to travel down. We live in a society where individuals are violated, and as I imagine, you and any other reasonable person would take that extremely seriously. Those types of allegations can ruin a person's life, and that is definitely a topic that will have to be addressed with the proper authorities. Physical assault is never anything to play with, and I will wholeheartedly state that I take that matter seriously. A lie doesn't care who tells it, and this story is riddled with lies. Sincerely, Doc. Doc provided the Shade Room with text messages from Shareza to an unnamed person that he believes cleared the air. The text messages read, "Good morning. I am only responding to you because you are a real person and don't have to hide behind a fake page to contact me. Firstly, please do me one small favor, and that's all I ask. Do not patronize me. Little smart comment was unnecessary, sister. I am very smart and well educated and can do without the hidden criticism. Secondly, you are not telling me anything I don't know or haven't heard. However, to ease both you and NW mind, let's go through what I do know. 1. Not a medical doctor. 2. Jersey arrest. 3. Kids and potential kids. 4. The schools he attended and didn't attend. 5. What else? I guess my point is I am already aware of all of this, so here's what I would kindly say to you. I haven't given a dime to start his clinic. I am not taking care of him financially. Good Lord. I truly wish I could say more, but my loyalty is not with you or NW. Just believe me when I say that's all BS if that's what you were told. Of course, you have no vested interest in our relationship, but your friend does. Truth is, since we are being so honest, you could care less about me or who is with. If he's such a bad guy, why worry so much about his next move or who he's with? I'd be more so happy that I no longer have to deal with him, so please don't do me any favors by saying you're helping me. I think what you all fail to understand is that there comes a point in a person's life where they make the decision to want to change and do better. Unfortunately, they have to deal with the past before their future. They must deal with all their dirty laundry, lies, deceit, and deceptive ways. I think that's where he's at right now. Honestly, who am I to judge him? And furthermore, who are you to judge him? We've all done things we are not proud of.
Hey roommates, if you want to see more celebs stepping into the shade room, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel here.